At the wedding, my in-laws were inebriated, seemingly unfazed by the hushed murmurs surrounding them. They began to shout at me. "Now that you're married, it's too late, but if you wish to be included in this family, you must demonstrate that you have sufficient funds," they stated. "Indeed, your dad has a point. So please ensure that we receive $1 a month as a new bonus," they mentioned. Their demands left me utterly astonished. I was utterly shocked to hear such remarks at my wedding reception. I simply gazed at them, sensing my complexion drain of color. My father seized the microphone from them. "That's it, I've had it. Are you not aware of how you're making fools of yourselves?" he remarked. "I go by the name Linda. I am a 30-year-old professional working in an office environment. I am presently in a relationship with Larry, who is 32 years of age. A friend of mine, concerned about my single status, decided to introduce us. After a year of dating, Larry popped the question, and now we're on the brink of tying the knot. My mother passed away when I was quite young, and my father took on the responsibility of raising me alone. He put in a tremendous amount of effort to look after me. While my childhood was largely carefree, the loss of my beloved mother left a profound ache in my heart. This made me extremely cautious with my feelings. I haven't pursued any serious relationships since my school days for that reason. I even considered that it might be perfectly fine to remain single for all time. Then I encountered Larry. Initially, I didn't experience any romantic emotions towards him. Despite his numerous invitations to go out, Larry genuinely cared for me and consistently displayed the qualities of a true gentleman. Gradually, I allowed my feelings to unfold, and we embarked on a romantic journey together. His constant care brought me immense joy. He grew incredibly important to me, and I began to envision a future together that would last a lifetime. He made a proposal, and we chose to embark on the journey of marriage. Larry grasped the essence of who I was and consistently showed me kindness. Regardless of the circumstances, there's no need for concern. Whenever you find yourself in doubt, know that I will be here to support you until you regain your confidence. I cherish you, Linda, he would assure you. You can rely on me. His words resonated deeply within me. He vowed to bring joy to my life forever. Simply being in his presence filled me with warmth. If he held such deep feelings for me, I believed it was only right to reciprocate those sentiments. When I shared the news of our engagement with my father, his joy was so overwhelming that tears filled his eyes. "Wow, Linda, the big day is finally here for you." He expressed his joy for you. "Oh, Dad, you're being a bit over the top." I made a joke. "Wow, this is the first time I'm hearing something like that from you," he responded, expressing his long-held concern that you might never find a partner to marry. "Oh, is that so? I had no clue you were concerned about that," I remarked. "Indeed, it's natural for a father to feel concern for his daughter. Wouldn't you agree? Regardless, well done," he remarked. "Thank you, Dad," I responded. I felt immense joy receiving congratulations from my dad, who had single-handedly raised me. I anticipated shedding some tears at the wedding, and I figured my dad would likely be even more emotional, especially since he was already in tears at that moment. With that, Larry and I began our journey of planning our wedding. Our schedules were packed with work, making each day quite chaotic. We toiled through the weekdays and dedicated our weekends to wedding preparations. Rest was a luxury that could not be afforded. Our schedules were perpetually packed. On an uncommon day of respite, we had plans to visit Larry's parents' residence. I was about to meet Larry's parents for the very first time. Larry arrived to meet my father immediately after he had proposed to me. I initially intended to meet Larry's parents immediately afterward to make my introduction. However, they were quite occupied, and our timetables never aligned. At last, after some time, we were able to organize a visit. Upon reaching his parents' home, a wave of nervousness washed over me. "There's no need for concern. My parents are incredibly gracious." Larry offered me comfort. His words lifted my spirits slightly, and I pressed the doorbell. The door swung open, revealing his mother standing there. "Mom, I'm back," Larry announced. "Welcome back, Larry. It's truly wonderful of you to be here," his mother responded with warmth. While she conversed with her son, I offered her a courteous greeting. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I am Linda, engaged to Larry. I understand now. You must be Linda, she remarked. Her voice dropped significantly compared to when she spoke to Larry, and her smile disappeared entirely. She scrutinized me from head to toe, as though evaluating my worth. She guided us into the living room, her icy demeanor remaining unchanged. Linda, I'm eager to learn about what you contribute. Larry is our precious gem and our sole offspring. If you choose to marry him, it's essential to embody the qualities of a fitting partner. Do you deserve him? She inquired, her tone resembling that of an interrogation. Her question caught me off guard. I was taken aback by the unexpected chill in my future mother-in-law's demeanor, leaving me momentarily speechless. You will become a part of our family. You realize. Are you prepared for that? She pressed on. Indeed, becoming Larry's spouse signified becoming part of his family. However, Larry's family wasn't exactly akin to the Kennedys or any prominent high society clan. I wasn't exactly stepping into a royal lineage. What was the reason behind this request for such a commitment? Moreover, I had no intention of residing with them at all. I find it uncomfortable to be confronted with questions like these. While I was contemplating my response, his mother appeared to grow impatient with my delayed reaction and reprimanded me sternly. Please respond to my questions promptly. Your behavior is quite impolite. She broke. Are you prepared for this? She pressed on, her voice growing louder. Even though I felt a wave of overwhelm, I found the strength to express my hope that Larry and I will stand by one another in our marriage. At that moment, his mother remained unconvinced. How simplistic of a statement to make. You will go beyond merely supporting one another. You are meant to provide assistance to Larry. As a partner, it is essential to stand by your husband and offer your support. She pointed out that you don't grasp the fundamentals at all. At that moment, Larry's father, seated beside her, stepped in. Sweetheart, take a deep breath. I apologize for that, Linda. He attempted to alleviate the tension by saying, you must have been taken aback by my wife's words. It's perfectly fine, I responded, striving to keep my composure. His mother is incredibly watchful over her sole child. Perhaps she was simply anxious and expressed herself impulsively. At that moment, Larry's brother entered the room. His voice was soft, soothing, and tender. He appeared to be a compassionate individual, offering me a brief sense of solace. However, that sense of relief was fleeting. With a grin lighting up his features, he uttered the most surprising words. My wife's perspective is truly valid. What worries me the most is that you come from a family with just one parent. Could you clarify what you mean by that? I inquired, perplexed. Growing up with only one parent often carries a negative perception in society. It's hard to feel completely joyful about having someone like that join our family as the wife of our only son. Isn't it? He elaborated. Wait a second, I interjected, refusing to let this remark pass unnoticed. What is the issue with being raised by just one parent? My father dedicated himself tirelessly to raising me alone. I hold deep gratitude for my upbringing, and I take great pride in my father. Growing up with a single parent does not diminish my worth. Yet, the debate continued. Given the absence of one parent, it seems you may not have had the opportunity to learn essential skills for being a good wife. Managing household tasks, and similar responsibilities. I replied that I had done a considerable amount of housework to assist my father. I can cook quite well, so please refrain from saying that. In spite of my reply, Larry's mother dismissed my words and ultimately declared, I will permit you to marry Larry. However, in return, you must pledge your complete dedication to us, as we are the parents of Larry. Will you make that promise to me? I was taken aback. What is happening? As you stand before us seeking our blessing to unite with our son. I trust you are aware of the responsibilities that accompany such a commitment. Correct? Before I had the chance to elaborate, he pressed on with the discussion. It became apparent that my in-laws had entirely dominated the conversation, leaving me with minimal opportunity to chime in. That evening, as I reflected on the marriage, I resolved to express my thoughts to Larry. Hey, Larry. Do your folks always engage with others in that manner? What's the deal with it? Larry appeared completely unbothered. I found it astonishing that Larry failed to recognize any issues with what his parents had communicated to me. Honestly, the manner in which your parents communicated with me and the things they expressed. I made an attempt to clarify. Is that so? They were discussing if you were prepared for this marriage. I understand that your parents are concerned about their son's marriage. But it seems to me that their comments were a bit excessive. Seriously? What's the reason for that? My parents didn't do anything wrong. Moreover, we have received the green light to tie the knot. So there's no need for concern. That's accurate. Yet I couldn't shake the discomfort of feeling that Larry appeared to align himself with his parents rather than with me. That was quite concerning. It seemed he sensed my uncertainty. As he wrapped me in a comforting hug. Linda, there's no need to be so concerned. He mentioned that his parents are somewhat upset about their only son getting married. He expressed himself in a way that suggested he wasn't entirely behind me. Everything will turn out just fine. Keep it simple. I'm confident they only desire what's best for us. They expect us to match the standard of their relationship. That's the reason they were somewhat severe. Oh, is that so? I responded, suggesting that perhaps his parents hold high expectations for us. However, even if that is true, I believe it is unjust for them to demean me simply because my upbringing was influenced by my father. In my opinion, those who express such sentiments are unlikely to form a strong partnership. We are the ones tying the knot. And we should be the center of attention, not their opinions or judgments. Considering that viewpoint, even though I felt a twinge of disappointment, I chose not to focus excessively on what his parents thought. At last, the day of the wedding had come. We hosted a variety of guests, encompassing family, friends, co-workers, and superiors. I strolled down the aisle alongside my father, the one who had nurtured me throughout my entire life. Larry and I shared our vows and exchanged rings. As the applause filled the air, it dawned on me for the first time that I was about to marry Larry. A joy enveloped me like never before. Upon entering the reception hall, we navigated through the throng, welcomed by videos featuring us as part of the entertainment. The atmosphere was filled with happiness. I caught up with friends I hadn't seen in ages, and numerous people offered their congratulations to us. Even with my previous concerns regarding his parents, I felt a sense of relief in choosing to marry Larry. I was pleased we chose to create a day to remember. Following the ceremony, we intended to formally register our marriage, marking the moment when Larry and I would become husband and wife. I treasured each moment and experienced immense joy. Time passed swiftly, and before long, it was time for the concluding segment of the event. The bridegroom stood proudly alongside both sets of parents, ready to welcome the guests with warmth and joy. However, I began to feel a sense of discomfort due to Larry's parents. We were meant to be lined up, yet his parents swayed unsteadily on their feet. Upon closer inspection, one would notice that their faces were a vivid shade of red. They had consumed an excessive amount. Some relatives inquired about their well-being. My in-laws were obviously under the influence. However, we needed to conclude the ceremony and bring it to a close. The moderator passed the microphone to Larry and me. Out of nowhere, Larry's mother grabbed my hand from him and shouted at me with the intensity of a seasoned wrestler in the heat of competition. Hear me out, Linda. Following this wedding, you will fully commit yourself to us. Get ready, as we are about to challenge you to the fullest extent. The guests began to murmur among themselves, with a few believing it to be a jest, chuckling softly. Then Larry's father seized the microphone. Linda, don't you feel a bit self-conscious in a dress like that? It really doesn't compliment you. My dear, it's important to be honest with her. His mother interjected. As anticipated, the murmurs among the guests shifted in quality. I glanced at Larry, wishing he would intervene against his father's disrespectful remarks. But Larry replied that he was unable to do so and insisted that his parents were not in the wrong. It was evident that he would not shield me from his parents moving forward. That was the moment I understood it. I felt a deep conviction. Even amidst the lively hum of the hall surrounding us, my in-laws were intoxicated and kept hurling insults at me. Although you're already married, they insisted that if you wish to join this family, you must demonstrate that you possess sufficient financial resources. Indeed, they persisted, once you complete your marriage registration at the city hall, it is expected that you contribute a few thousand each month along with your entire bonus. Their words left me utterly astonished. I was taken aback by the things they said at our wedding reception. I simply gazed at them, sensing my complexion drain of color. My father seized the microphone from them. "This has gone on long enough. Are you not aware that you are embarrassing yourselves?" he remarked, maintaining a semblance of respect. His parents shot a fierce look at my father. "What prompts you to interject while we are in conversation?" I was aware that this woman's father had a questionable character. They claimed that single parents are never any good. How could they possibly insult my father? I contemplated. My father, maintaining his composure, responded, "You individuals are even more disappointing than I had anticipated. You won't even agree to meet with me simply because I'm a single father. I never imagined that a person like you would be part of President Scott's team." President Scott embodies a remarkable sense of integrity. I expected his employees to be respectable too. At that moment, my father-in-law's expression became quite grave. "In what way? What is your connection to President Scott?" My father explained that he is not only a business partner of my company but also an old friend of mine. In discussing single parents, it's noteworthy that President Scott was brought up solely by his mother. "It seems you've just disrespected the leader of your organization." Watching the expressions of my in-laws shift at my father's remarks, I recognized that they had finally grasped the predicament they had landed themselves in. "I sincerely apologize. Sir, please, don't tell the president about this," my in-law begged, suddenly dropping to his knees. Just moments before, he had pretended to be in control, yet now he appeared utterly vanquished. The sound of laughter echoed from the guests. Several individuals even took out their cell phones to capture the moment. "No matter how many times you say you're sorry, you can never undo what you've said," my dad remarked. He approached me and inquired if I would like to accompany him home. I accepted and grasped the microphone from Larry's hand. "Thank you for the wonderful entertainment. But a marriage will not be happening." I made the announcement to Larry, his parents, and all the attendees. "I will ensure that the funds you provided for this occasion are returned to you." After that, I departed the reception hall alongside my dad. I noticed Larry and his parents appearing troubled, and shortly after, his relatives hurried over, their faces etched with concern. It seemed the location was engulfed in utter disarray. I offered my apologies to the guests as I returned their money. They all showed their understanding and commended both my dad and me for our choices. Noting that it was commendable, we didn't allow ourselves to be exploited by such awful individuals. Subsequently, it seems that Larry's colleagues who were present at the reception shared the news of the events that unfolded at his workplace. Larry gained a reputation for enduring unreasonable parents and faced criticism for his perceived lack of strength in character. Overwhelmed by his embarrassment, he chose to resign of his own accord. Naturally, the president of my father-in-law's company became aware of the incident. Larry's father faced a demotion, relegated to a minor division of the company, and moved to a distant office nestled in the countryside. I learned that Larry's family has been shunned by all his relatives due to the events that transpired at the wedding. Though it's regrettable, it was indeed a consequence of their own actions. And at times, such situations are simply unavoidable. During this time, I've been focusing on deepening my bond with my dad. We've been enjoying more meaningful moments together, and it's deepened my appreciation for everything he's done for me. One day, he took a moment to have a heartfelt conversation with me. "Linda, would you like to take charge of the business?" he inquired, his gaze fixed on me, blending anticipation with earnestness. "What are you trying to say?" I began, feeling somewhat uncertain about his direction with this. "Why not strive to become the president of my company?" he proposed. It was a significant leap, and he appeared to have faith that I was prepared to embrace it. I vowed to give it my all, a swirl of anticipation and anxiety coursing through me. I chose to concentrate on enhancing my performance at work instead of diving into romantic relationships for the time being. I aimed to demonstrate to both myself and my father that I could thrive and maybe, in the future, become a remarkable leader like he is. At present, I am fully immersed in absorbing all the knowledge I can at my dad's company. The task at hand is demanding yet rewarding, and I am resolute in my commitment to seize this chance to its fullest potential. Looking back on the wedding chaos, It's evident that Larry's in-laws were rather unreasonable, transforming what ought to have been a lovely occasion into a spectacle. Fortunately, since the marriage wasn't officially recorded, I avoided a legally binding error. Now, liberated from any marital obligations and without the weight of in-law complications, I can concentrate entirely on my professional ambitions. It's comforting to realize that from a tumultuous scenario emerged a distinct direction for me. I eagerly anticipate what lies ahead and am thrilled by the possibilities of guiding the company forward. I extend my best wishes to myself and hope that those who witness this narrative can glean something meaningful from it. I appreciate your presence until the very last moment. If you found this story enjoyable, I would appreciate your subscription. And I look forward to sharing the next video with you.